Truth is, though, Jesus is completely aware of your limitations. However, he also knows that he has none. If Jesus asked you to do the impossible this morning, would you? Like if he asked you to do the one thing that you've already decided, I can't do that, would you? I think for many of us, it's two simple words that we've decided we can't do. Get help. So the guy gives his excuse. He's like, look, of course I want to get well, but I can't get first, right? I'm trying to be first. I can't get there. Like every time this water gets stirred, some other guy, some other girl jumps in ahead of me. Now, when I hear this, as I'm Jesus, I'm thinking like, all right, look, let me give you a next step. You need to get closer to the pool. You know what I'm saying? Like stop trying to crawl there the whole time. Stay on the edge. Or if you're afraid you're going to fall in, you need to learn to swim. Like you need to figure this out. There's ways to make this a little more efficient so you can get in the pool first. Or maybe Jesus would say, you know what? Let me talk to everybody. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. For 38 years, this guy's been trying to get first. The next time this happens, can y'all just chill for a second? Let the man, he's got 38 years of trying. Just let the man hop in. And then y'all can go back to like who's going to be first. But if y'all would just partner with me as a rabbi, that would be very grateful. I might have asked that. That's not what Jesus says at all. Jesus looks at the guy who gives an excuse, and then Jesus looks straight at him, and he says this, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. That's wild to me. The guy gives him an excuse, and Jesus doesn't even acknowledge it. And he says, no, I'd rather just give you a next step. Verse 9. At once, the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. 38 years. And like that, life changed. Now, here's my big question. When did he get healed? Now, I think, pretty safe to say, as soon as Jesus says something, it takes place. But what if he had convinced himself that even though Jesus said I'm healed, I still don't know how to walk? What if he stayed on the pavement with legs that fully worked? Because he had that choice. It was his choice whether to get up or not. Jesus decided, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do something. But it was his choice whether or not he actually wanted to do something about what Jesus had given to him. That's a big question. I think that's the very same question Jesus would ask a lot of us. Do you want to be made well? Do you really want to be made well? I mean, how long have you been stuck in your mental health struggles? How long has depression been a part of your everyday world? How long have you made big decisions based upon the anxiety level that exists within you? Do you want to be made well? The truth is, often we become the biggest reason we can't get well. Now, you might say, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair because I didn't do this to me. Like the thing that has caused my anxiety or caused whatever I'm experiencing, someone else did in my direction. That it was wrong, it was disgusting, or fill in the blank, like it was like just completely out of the realm of what should be normal in someone's life, and they did that to me. Like it's external things that have caused what I feel internally. And because of that, you can't say that I'm to blame for why I'm not well because they're to blame. And you honestly might be justified in that idea, that they're to blame for the reason that you're unwell. However, that's not what the question is, or that's not what the statement says. It doesn't say that you're the reason you're unwell. It says that you might be the reason you can't get well. See, Jesus, he heals him. He comes up with an excuse, and then Jesus' response to his excuse is to tell him to do the one thing that he has already decided in his mind is impossible for him to do, which is to get up and walk. And I think there are moments, and maybe this morning is one of them for many of you, where you're hearing something stir inside of you that says, you should go get help. But you've already decided in your heart, that's the one thing I cannot do. The truth is, though, Jesus is completely aware of your limitations. However, he also knows that he has none. If Jesus asked you to do the impossible this morning, would you? Like if he asked you to do the one thing that you've already decided, I can't do that, would you? I think for many of us, it's two simple words that we've decided we can't do. Get help. We've got good reasons, though. There's 5 very prominent, common objections to why I won't get help. The first one is there's stigma and shame associated with it. Many people worry about what others might think if they go to therapy because it's associated with weakness or mental illness or a lack of control. They got a fear of being judged, especially in communities where therapy might be less accepted or understood. In particular, not to exclude anyone, but let me just speak from a place that I feel like I know a little bit about because I am one. From a guy's perspective, this would qualify. When we talk about communities where it's not accepted or welcomed or encouraged, for us guys, for sure, yeah, that's not a thing. Like, we're not interested in doing that. I find so many wives or ladies that are willing in terms of relationship counseling to do something about it, and they can't get their husbands to go and do something about it. I get it. I watch it. I see it in other people's lives, experienced it in my own life. I get it. The way to overcome this, though, is we need a few men who have more courage than most that would normalize this reality, that would be willing to share at a lunch table or in the middle of a conversation about how University of Georgia is actually okay, even though we only won by 1 yesterday. But in the middle of that conversation, as things go back and forth, you know what really helped my wife and I out? We went and saw this counselor, which I know y'all probably think is like, I can't believe you did that, but I'd do it again if we ran into that same problem. And if any of you ever get in a spot, I know a guy or I know a girl, that would help change it. Second reason is I should be able to handle my own problems, right? Some people feel like, hey, I should be able to solve my own problems. I don't need to go to outside help. It's a sign of strength to be able to handle my own problems. It's the way I was raised. That's the way my mom and daddy did. It's the way my grandparents did it. I got to handle my own problems. I got to be able to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'm not who I'm supposed to be. It's a self-reliant mindset, which in most circumstances is incredible. In other circumstances, it's debilitating. There's the issue of cost and accessibility. It's expensive. Insurance might not cover it. Or it's just a simple fact of I don't even know where to look. Like, what do I do? Google, like, who will talk to me and my wife? Who will talk to me about my anxiety? Like, what if like a Facebook ad on Marketplace comes up? It's like $29.99 a month, and I'll talk to you. You know, you just Zoom me. Like, how do I know? I get it. There's the fear of vulnerability. How could I open up to a stranger about personal struggles? They'll judge me. Surely this counselor isn't actually confidential. They're going to talk to somebody. They're just human, right? One of the most common ones, I would say, is this fifth one. It's the doubt about its effectiveness. Some people are skeptical about whether it'll actually work, whether it's a negative past experience they've had in counseling, or they think that talking about it won't actually solve anything, or that a counselor couldn't actually understand their situation. Because this one is such a huge topic, I wanted to give you just a few thoughts and statistics about its effectiveness. There is an analysis of 270 studies that were published in psychological bulletins, and that analysis found that 75% of people who attended therapy experienced improvements in mental health and well-being compared to those who did not receive therapy. According to the American Psychological Association, 80% of people who engage in therapy report that it has long-lasting benefits that continue after the therapy ends, improving their overall quality of life. A study from the Journal of Counseling and Psychology found that 70 to 80% of people in therapy reported improvements in life functioning, such as better relationships, increased self-esteem, and better emotional regulation. According to a study by the American Association for Marriage and Family, 90% of clients in marriage and family therapy report an improvement in their own emotional health. Now, you read a bunch of statistics like that, and you see it, and it's like, wow, those are big numbers. But I want to stop for a second, and I want to make sure that I'm pointing out the small numbers associated with those big numbers. When we look at those numbers, we see somewhere between 70, 80, 90% of positive things. But it also means, because it's not 100%, that sometimes 30% or 20% or 10%, it doesn't work. So why is that? And what if you're one of those people who's like, I can attest, it doesn't work. It is not good. Yeah. Look, counseling is not a miracle. And your therapist is not Jesus. And the truth is, any good counselor will tell you, I don't always bring my A game. Like I want to, but I'm not always at my best. Like some days I do see it wrong. And some days I don't ask the best questions. And some days I don't help people discover what a good next step is, the best way. And some days I didn't bring the best of me. I don't know if you can relate to that. Maybe you've had days at work where you weren't your best. And maybe the results show that maybe you weren't your best. I know as a pastor, the primary thing people see and think that I do is what I'm doing right now on Sunday morning. You'd maybe not be surprised at how many people ask, what else do I do for work other than just talk on Sunday mornings? It's like, I work at a church. Yeah, on Sundays. What do you do the other rest of the week? Yeah, all right. Well, nothing. I just play games. But man, I'd like to think that every time I get up here and teach that it's jam up. But it's not. I've gone back and watched some. There's really bad ones. Because it's people. That being said, though, we have to have a realistic expectation when we engage with people. But the truth is, people that have made this their life's calling to help people take healthy next steps, they get it right much more often than they get it wrong. Which means there's probably some of you that need to give it another chance. Jesus asked the question, do you want to be healed? I think he's asking us the same question. And maybe we respond with the excuse of why we haven't yet. But I promise you this, Jesus' response to your excuse or explanation for why you've yet to be able to overcome the struggle, it's going to be a next step. It's going to be, well, this is what you should do about it. Therapy isn't a miracle. Counseling isn't a miracle. It's simply a stone for your sling that you can throw at the giant. That's what we're chasing down.